After a rather successful run on the Nintendo 64, the Mario Party series was really hitting its stride for this upcoming console generation. Mario Party 3 was a great Mario Party game with a lot of great ideas that just needed to be refined and smoothened out. Mario Party 4 has a reputation for having some of the greatest minigames in the series, but does it live up to its hype? Is Mario Party 4 a sensational soiree or a bland bash? Well, welcome back to Mark's Rec Room, where today we'll be talking about Mario Party 4, the one with the banger minigames. Something that I find particularly interesting about Mario Party 4 is that it seems to subtly use ideas from Mario Party 2 and 3 in its board gameplay while really trying to distance itself from those games and start a new era. Action time is gone, which is a real bummer since I think that it gave players more opportunities to strategize and make decisions. Koopa Bank spaces are gone, which is sad because they added a nice bit of interactivity to the boards, and Game Guy spaces are gone, which is a bummer but not too surprising since they've been functionally replaced by the lottery shop, which we'll talk about in a bit. Item spaces have been reworked into mushroom spaces, which will give a player 2 boxes with a mushroom inside. The mushroom that you get is predetermined, so it doesn't really matter which box you pick, but this is a great way to handle item spaces. Item minigames were a bit of a drag in Mario Party 2 and 3 since every other player would have to sit there and watch one player play a minigame. Mario Party 3 was on the right track with quizzes that could randomly occur, and Mario Party 4 continues to streamline this process and make it better. It does suck that you can only get 1 of 2 items at these spaces, and this can really tend to stack mushrooms onto players, but I think this is a good way to handle item spaces that keeps the pace of the game flowing. One of the biggest omissions is duels. There's no opportunity to duel other players, which is a major bummer since duels added more skill intensity and allowed players to put a lot on the line. There was no real reason to omit duels from this game, and their absence is definitely a big detriment. Mario Party 4 strips away a lot of the central board mechanics introduced in Mario Party 2 and 3 and doesn't really replace them with a ton of new mechanics, although it is refining and improving some of them for this console generation. Mario Party 4 adds one new space and a new shop: the warp space, which will send you directly to another player's location determined by this wheel, and the lottery shop, where you can pay 5 coins and try to win a mushroom, 30 coins, or 100 coins. The first time you play the lottery, you'll receive a lucky party ticket, and at the last 5 turns, a drawing will occur, and if you win a star. I'm neutral on the warp space. I don't really think it adds much to the board gameplay, but I don't necessarily dislike it or anything. But the lottery shop is great in my opinion. It's a great way for players to gamble their money without making players feel like they're losing money to chance for no reason like they could have at the Game Guy space. While I personally have a soft spot for Game Guy, I think the lottery shop is a better execution of this idea. Chance time has been reworked into Reversal of Fortune, where you'll play a pinball game to determine what happens to players. I want to like this so badly. The pinball presentation is really cute, but this is functionally really inferior to chance time. The pinball game takes longer and honestly feels more random. Bowser spaces were also nerfed. Now there's a good chance that just a Koopa Kid will come down and just take money, which is really anticlimactic. When Bowser does show up though, it's always really impactful, and Mario Party 4 actually reintroduces Bowser minigames. However, this time they're unique and tense minigames where players can lose a lot. I like this, and if Koopa Kid showed up less, this would be a way more intimidating space. There are also board events on each board that a player can engage in that will give them an item or coins. However, you have to be mini to access these events, so if you want to try them out, you need to use a mini mushroom before you get there. This does give value to mini mushrooms, which I like, but it does make it a lot more likely that you won't see these board events. Finally, at the last 5 turns, the player in last place will stop a wheel and determine the unique effect for the last 5 turns. The coin spaces could give and take double the amount of coins, all red spaces become Bowser spaces, all red spaces become Reversal of Fortune spaces, or stars become free. I really like this idea, and even though I think stars becoming free is kinda lame, the fact that each game could have an impactful last 5 turns event that's unique is super fun, and I like it a lot. Mario Party 4 certainly adds some great new ideas, but it does strip back a lot of the existing ideas that Mario Party 2 and 3 added. Speaking of which, let's talk about the item system in Mario Party 4. Mario Party 4 revamps, renames, and removes a lot of the brilliance from Mario Party 3's item system. Mario Party 4 has 14 items available, 6 less than Mario Party 3. The items that got cut include the cellular shopper, the dueling glove, the reverse mushroom, the Bowser phone, the plunder chest, the wacky watch, the Koopa card, and the lucky charm. It's depressing to see a lot of these items gone, since a lot of them contributed very heavily into what made Mario Party 3 such a fun strategic take on Mario Party. Mario Party 4 renamed a handful of items too. The mushroom is now the Mega Mushroom, the golden mushroom is now the Super Mega Mushroom, the warp block is now the warp pipe except you spin a wheel, the barter box is now the swap card, Boo repellent is now the Gadlight, the lucky lamp is now the Chomp Call, and the Boo bell is now Boo's crystal ball. This doesn't really change all that much about these items' actual utility outside of the mushrooms, but I think it further proves that Mario Party 4 is kind of trying to reboot the series and give Mario Party a fresh new start on this new hardware, rather than continuing after Mario Party 3. A couple of the items were reworked or tweaked slightly as well. The mini mushroom is like if you merged a poison mushroom and a skeleton key, allowing players access through these warp pipes that are basically skeleton key doors and access to these unique board events, but your dice roll is limited to 1 through 5. There is a super mini mushroom too that allows you to roll 2 dice blocks numbered 1 through 5. The swap card is basically the barter box, but instead of choosing which opponent you want to swap with, you have to spin the wheel, which is fine because this item is much easier to obtain. Finally, Mario Party 4 adds 2 completely new items, the Sparky sticker and the Mini Mega Hammer. The Mini Mega Hammer allows you to force another player to be Mini or Mega for their next roll, which is fine, but I honestly think that this item is pretty situational. Then there's the Sparky sticker. The Sparky sticker is a bit of a hint at where Mario Party's item system will go in the future. You place this item as a trap on a space, and the next player that passes it will lose 10 coins in the effects of their Mini or Mega Mushroom. I think that this item is a pretty neat idea, although honestly, it's kind of lame that you don't get the coins that the player loses. Setting traps on the board is a great idea though, and definitely sets an interesting idea in motion for future entries of the series. Most of the other items function the same way that they did in previous Mario Party games. It's worth noting that while the Bowser suit does exist in this game, it cannot be purchased and can only be received by landing on a Bowser space and happening to get lucky enough to receive it. This is extremely rare, so there's a good chance that you had no idea that this item was even in this game. I didn't even know about it until I saw the Rare Oddities video from Mario Party Legacy, and I've been playing the game with friends for years. But anyways, the items in Mario Party 4 are a major step back from the very robust selection in Mario Party 3. While this selection isn't necessarily bad, it is a disappointment to see so many items get cut without a ton of new ideas to really replace them. The biggest change is in the Mini and Mega Mushrooms, and unfortunately, in my opinion, this is where Mario Party 4 stumbles really hard. So, in previous Mario Party games, mushrooms and golden mushrooms would add additional dice to your roll, allowing players with more coins to traverse the board faster and put them in a better position to nab the star. Mario Party 4 adds an additional layer to this, turning players Mega and allowing them to stomp on any players that they pass and steal 10 coins from them. That's cool, I like that. The problem here is that when you are Mega, you bypass most board events, including item shops and the star. Yeah, so if you roll too high, there's a good chance that you just walk on past the star and miss your chance, which makes the Mega Mushroom absolutely plummet down the item rankings. It turns an incredibly useful item that would really help give you an edge on getting the star into an incredibly situational item that has the potential to put you in a worse position for nabbing the star. Why Hudson decided to nerf this item is beyond me, but it's a disappointing change. The Mini Mushroom is also basically a worse version of the skeleton key. So, in Mario Party 2 and 3, you could hold on to a skeleton key and use it once you reach a door to unlock. Once you unlock that door, the skeleton key is consumed and you can choose which way you want to go. This is even better in Mario Party 3 since having a skeleton key doesn't prevent you from getting another item, so you could use a mushroom to roll far across the map and make your way to a skeleton key door. The Mini Mushroom is basically the skeleton key, but if you had to consume the skeleton key before you reach the door. You have to be Mini at the time that you approach these mini pipes, and only then can you go through them. But remember, Mini Mushrooms decrease your dice roll to 1 through 5, unless if you purchase a Super Mini Mushroom. So you not only need to have this item, but you need to happen to roll specifically within striking distance of the mini pipe, then use your Mini Mushroom and hope that you roll high enough to make it through. If you don't, that sucks, and you likely can't go through that path unless if you've been stockpiling Mini Mushrooms. This sucks, honestly. It makes the mini pipe such such a hassle to go through for no good reason, and if a star gets locked behind one of these mini pipes, there's a good chance that it won't get purchased for a while. I just don't get it. Mini mushrooms and mega mushrooms are just severely nerfed versions of perfectly fine items that didn't need to be nerfed. I just don't get why Mario Party 4 felt the need to reinvent the wheel with its item system. The item system in Mario Party 3 was engaging, strategic, and slightly hectic. It was honestly excellent. Why would you not build off of that instead of reworking it into a shell of its former self? Look, I'm being a little hard on Mario Party 4 right now, but I do want to give credit to a fantastic new addition that this game adds, Team Match. Mario Party 4 introduces a new, unique way of playing party mode by allowing you to split into 2 teams of 2. Teammates can then use each other's items and you don't play any 1 versus 3 minigames. I really like Team Match because it brings all kinds of new strategies and a new way of playing Mario Party with a teammate. It's such a fun way to shake up the gameplay, and if you've never tried Team Match out, I recommend that you do so. Anyways, let's talk about Mario Party 4's boards. Mario Party 4 has 6 boards to choose from, each with its own distinct host and aesthetic. The boards featured here are Toad's Midway Madness, Boo's Haunted Bash, Goomba's Greedy Gala, Shy Guy's Jungle Jam, Koopa's Seaside Soiree, and Bowser's Gnarly Party. Mario Party 4's boards are actually 3D this time around and have lots of room to impress, so let's talk about them in order from worst to best. Bowser's Gnarly Party is a really brutal board, and not in a good way. The main gimmick here is that Bowser is on the board, and if you pass by him, he'll take half your coins unless if you have 0, and instead he'll grant you 50. However, if you pass him while you're mini, he won't take any of your coins but will send you to a unique start space. If you pass him while you're mega, then you have the opportunity to beat him in one of 2 minigames, and if you win, he won't take any coins from you and leaves the board until the next star is purchased. I do like that this mechanic places more value in mega mushrooms, but honestly, Bowser being on the board is really more of a frustration than anything. Compared to the Bowser Parade from Mario Party 2's Bowser Land, which was a predictable and exploitable but still punishing board event, Bowser's just here to take money and make this board more frustrating. Every few turns, Bowser will also turn all players mini, which locks them out from using an item that turn. I don't really get why this was added to this board, honestly. These happening spaces will burn an item out of your inventory, which is pretty punishing. But more than anything, Bowser's Gnarly Party is my least favorite board in Mario Party 4 because its layout is really bad. These mini pipes block off way too much of the board, so it makes the board feel like a collection of loot. There's also this bridge mechanic where every time a player walks across it, it breaks a little bit. After the third player crosses the bridge, it gets rebuilt in the other direction. This causes some absolutely brutal infinites, especially at the start of the board where the poor 4th player who didn't make it across this bridge has to loop around this 17 space circle 3 times to be able to advance to the rest of the board. I just can't help but feel like this mechanic wasn't thought out enough. These bridges just serve to force players to circle these paths over and over again, which makes Bowser's Gnarly Party an absolute drag. Goomba's Greedy Gala is a board that I want to like so badly. A board themed all around gambling is so great and fits the spirit of Mario Party perfectly. In the center of the board is a roulette, which will spin and place you in one of 4 quadrants. If you hit the lucky space on the roulette, you get 20 coins and get to choose which quadrant you go to. I think this is pretty neat. It's basically like the center junction from Waluigi's Island in Mario Party 3, except instead of timing your jump, it's luck-based, which is a bit of a downgrade. However, you can offset this by paying the Goomba to rig the roulette for you. You can pay him 5 coins, 10 coins, or 20 coins, but thanks to Zoomzyke's identifying luck video, we know that the 5 coin option gives you overwhelming odds to land in the star quadrant, and anything more is overkill. But I generally think that this central mechanic is alright. I don't love that there isn't really any agency to where you go, but being able to use coins to swing your odds is cool, and I like having that option. So, what's the problem with Goomba's Greedy Gala? Well, once you pass this junction, you'll be placed at these quadrants, and all of them are basically islands that loop until you get lucky enough to leave. The green quadrant is basically going back to the roulette again, except you have a mini pipe available to go to the blue quadrant. You can travel between the blue quadrant and the pink one by landing on these happening spaces and sliding across the table. The blue quadrant also features the only non-mini pipe junction, which is kind of crazy. However, the pink and red quadrants are another brutal example of an infinite. The pink quadrant has the previously mentioned happening spaces, but unless if you happen to land on a warp space, the only other way to leave is by losing the Goomba dice roll-off. Here, a Goomba will roll a dice block, and if you roll higher than them, you gain 10 coins and can continue on your way. If you lose, you get sent back to start. So, theoretically, theoretically, you could never lose this roll-off and never land on the happening space, which will keep you looping on this island forever. Similarly, the red quadrant does have a mini mushroom pipe that you can use to escape, but if you don't have one, the only way to leave is by losing the roll-off or by landing on the warp space. There's a very good chance that you can stuck in either of these quadrants for multiple turns, which makes this board really bad. The central mechanic for Goomba's Greedy Gala is pretty neat. I just wish that the rest of the board was actually interesting and allowed you to make more choices instead of just keeping you in luck-based infinites. Toad's Midway Madness is a pretty standard board with some pretty simple mechanics. There's a roller coaster in the center, and if you land on a happening space, the roller coaster will chase you to the other side of the board. You can also ride the roller coaster and collect coins along the way, and I like this. It's a simple but predictable way of impacting players' placements, and it doesn't feel too random. The board's layout is pretty good too, with most of the board being pretty walkable and easy to understand. The Achilles heel for Toad's Midway Madness are these teacup junctions. These junctions will force the player who enters to exit in one direction, then the next player to go through will have to go in the other direction. This removes some decision making, which I don't love, but it's made much worse because the teacups at the start of the board turn the very beginning into an infinite. If you're the first or third player to make it to the teacups, congrats, you can now explore the rest of the board. However, the second and fourth players now have to loop around the starting section again, with one of these players needing to loop again before they can make it out. This just sucks and makes the game so boring for the players who get stuck in the loop. Toad's Midway Madness holds a place in my heart for its unique aesthetic and decent layout, but I can't ignore its glaring shortcomings. Koopa's Seaside Soiree is really close to being a good board. The happening spaces on this board will take you to the corresponding dock on the board, providing lots of opportunities to move across the board quickly. Up here, there is Koopa's Cabana, where every player must invest 5 coins in his cabana every time they pass this space. If a player lands on one of the happening spaces around the cabana, they have to pay the amount that has been invested so far, and the cabana gets wiped back to square one. This brutally sucks a lot of money out of the economy, and I like it a lot. The problem with Koopa's Seaside Soiree is Ukiki's Banana Peel Junction. This junction is on the left and the right of the cabana and will either send you up or down at random. The problem here is that if you go up on both sides, you'll be forced into an infinite where the only way out is to try the junction again. So players could get stuck here due to bad luck, which really sucks. You could use the mini pipes here to escape the loop, but it's very unlikely that you'd be able to make it out through this method. If Koopa's Seaside Soiree didn't have this luck-based element that can trap you, it would be a pretty decent board, but as it stands, it's just disappointing. Boo's Haunted Bash is pretty alright. The main mechanic on this board are the red boo bridges. Every time a player passes by the red boo, these bridges will appear or disappear. These bridges provide great shortcuts, but when they're away, you have to take the long way around. I like this, it's really predictable and plays into the other central mechanic, the mystery train. The mystery train is only active when the red boo bridges are gone. Players can then ride the train across the board to the graveyards on the edges of the board. Any player that you pass while riding the train will get taken along with you. Again, this is a simple mechanic, but I like it. It provides players with opportunities to move across the board quickly. My biggest problem with this board is that it's just really drab. Big Boo makes a return here from Mario Party 2, but in order to call him, 3 players have to land on these 2 happening spaces, and these are the only happening spaces on the entire board. I love that Big Boo is back, but unfortunately it's kind of hard to get him to appear. Having 2 happening spaces just leads this board to be incredibly boring, alongside the pretty bland aesthetic and layout. It's a pretty decent board otherwise. Shy Guy's Jungle Jam is my favorite board in Mario Party 4. This is a pretty good Tide Island board with a pretty interesting central mechanic. On both halves of the board, there are these 3 happening spaces in front of a Shy Guy well. If you land on these spaces, you have to make a wish to the well. If it accepts the wish, nothing happens. If it rejects the wish, the bridges will flood, cutting them off for 1 to 3 turns. This is a little random, but I like it since it actually works with the board's layout rather well. The cool thing about this mechanic is that it's actually pretty feasible to get to the other side of the board even while the river is flooded. You can take this Shy Guy raft or ride on Klepto to the other side of the board, as long as you can pay for it. I think that this is great, and it really complements the main mechanic of the board rather well. I do wish that the raft wasn't locked behind a mini pipe, but other than that, Shy Guy's Jungle Jam is pretty good. The boards in Mario Party 4 are sadly a step down from Mario Party 2 and 3. Boo's Haunted Bash and Shy Guy's Jungle Jam are pretty decent, but they're mostly decent because they don't have infinites, like all of the other boards in this game. Infinites are some of the worst offenders in Mario Party board design, since they can force players to get stuck rolling for multiple turns with no opportunities for decisions. This, along with the mini pipes and removal of spaces like Game Guy and the Koopa Bank, really makes Mario Party 4's board design feel like a step down from 2 and 3, which is really sad. It's not unbearable terrible. It's certainly better than Mario Party 1's board gameplay, but it's disappointing to see the boards take a hit in the jump to the GameCube. However, Mario Party 4 definitely has a stronger reputation in the minigame department. So, I'll be rating the minigames on a scale from 1 to 10 and finding the mean, median, and mode for Mario Party 4's minigames and comparing them to the other Mario Party games. The score will appear in the bottom right corner of the screen for each individual minigame as we discuss them. So, Mario Party 4 features 45 minigames that you can encounter through normal play. Strangely, that's even less than Mario Party 1's 49 minigames, but Hudson may have focused on quality over quantity this time around. We are omitting more minigames this time around as well, 15 in total. The minigames that we're omitting are all on screen now, and they're all being omitted because they're either story minigames or extra minigames that do not appear during normal board gameplay. The reasoning for this is that I want to figure out how good the minigame set is for each Mario Party's party mode, and story minigames and extra minigames don't ever appear in these sets. So let's talk about each minigame from Mario Party 4 and see how good these minigames are. Manta Rings is a good swimming minigame with a dash of mashing. Slime Time is a really good and quick mashing minigame. Book Squirm is one of the greatest Mario Party minigames of all time. This minigame tests your reaction and pathing skills in a really unique way. Mario Medley is a really great resource management minigame with a variety of control schemes. Avalanche is a pretty good racing minigame. The controls can be a little weird though. Domination is another really good mashing minigame. Paratrooper Plunge is one of the better coin collecting minigames in the series, encouraging bumping your opponents around. Toad's Quick Draw is alright. I like its premise, but this game basically boils down to picking a balloon and hoping Toad shows that color. 3-Throw is a fun minigame, but unfortunately if you're in the middle, you will be locked out from scoring since the players on the ends can take all of the hoops before they get to you. Photo Finish is competitive jigsaw puzzling that can be really close. Mr. Blizzard's Brigade is a fun avoid the hazards minigame, although circling the outside is definitely the dominant strategy. Your opponents can get in the way though, so it gets competitive. Bob-omb Breakers is a phenomenal puzzle minigame where you can score points in other players' quadrants and rack up combos. I really like these types of puzzle minigames. Long Claw of the Law is a good minigame where you try to find the characters faster than everybody else. Stamp Out is a pretty good Splatoon minigame. Mario Speedwagons is a really unique drag racing minigame with a great name. Take a Breather is an L&R masher, which is just uncomfortable in my opinion. Candlelight Flight is a pretty decent minigame, but I think the one has too much health here. Making Waves requires some good team coordination, but I still think it's pretty easy for the one. Hide and Go Boom is like Hide and Sneak from Mario Party 3, but in a quicker and more tense style. Tree Stomp is alright. I think it's a little easy for the one, and it's a little too finicky control. Fish and Drips is way too easy for the one. It's way easier to input a sequence than to react. Hopper Pop is a pretty fun and well-balanced minigame, although I think this one is slightly weighted towards the 3. Muddy Belts is yet another unbalanced Reaganomics minigame. Goal! Is fun, but definitely weighted towards the 3. Blame It on the Crane is just kind of boring. The Great Deflate requires good teamwork and timing. Reverse a Bomb is a good minigame with a fast back and forth pace. The controls are a little weird at first, but this minigame is fun with people who are familiar with it. Right or Left is a boat racing minigame that emphasizes communication and mashing. Cliffhangers requires you to make risky plays in order to get an advantage, but it's really easy to not get blown off. Team Treasure Trek is a fun maze minigame where you need to meet up with your teammate quickly to win. Parasailing is pretty boring and gives out too much money. Order Up is a great memory minigame. Dungeon Duos is the final boss of all minigames. Mashing, platforming, pumping, and a sprinkle of luck combined into one of the best minigames in the series. Cheap Cheap Sweep is a deceptively deep fish-catching minigame with a lot of counterplay. Trace Race is a competitive sobriety test, and it is fantastic. Shame Chomp Fever is a good survival minigame that ramps up the longer it goes on. Paths of Peril is a really great pathing minigame that gets super tense. Bowser's Bigger Blast is a new, shiny version of Bowser's Big Blast, still one of the best RNG minigames. Butterfly Blitz is a fun butterfly catching minigame. Rumble Fishing is a fine reaction minigame. Darts of Doom feels a little random, but it's tense. Fruits of Doom is an intense memory minigame with a lot on the line. Balloon of Doom is a good game of chicken. Bowser Wrestling is another L&R masher, and if you get the golden mushroom, you win. Panels of Doom is a really bland RNG minigame. The minigames in Mario Party 4 definitely go for quality over quantity. Mario Party 4 doubles the amount of 10s that Mario Party 3 got, with Book Squirm, Bob-omb Breakers, Dungeon Duos, and Trace Race. Mario Party 4 also has the best overall scores so far, with a mean of 6.4 and a median and mode of 7. Mario Party 4 has a really good selection of minigames, with just a few stinkers but a lot of great ones. It is a bummer that dual minigames aren't present, but this minigame set is fantastic. Another fantastic addition that Mario Party 4 has is that you can actually create your own custom minigame set, so you can choose what minigames you want to play during the board gameplay. I cannot understate how fantastic this is. Allowing players to customize the set of minigames that are available is so great, because it can guarantee that players will be able to only play minigames that they enjoy and keep the pace of the game flowing. It's such a bummer that this has only appeared in Mario Party 4, arguably the game where you'd want to cut the least amount of minigames. Regardless, if any Mario Party developers are listening, please bring this feature back. There's a couple of new side modes here as well. Battle mode is the same as Minigame Battle from Mario Party 2 and Random Battle from Mario Party 3, where players need to be the first to get to 3, 5, or 7 wins. There's also Tic-Tac-Toe mode, where players split into 2 teams, they vote on what tile they want, then they'll play a minigame. Whoever wins claims the tile that they wanted, and the first team to create a line wins. This mode is fine, but just kind of boring, honestly. There are also a couple of extra modes in the aptly named Extra mode. There's Beach Volley Folly, which is a 1 or 2 player volleyball minigame, and there are a variety of bonus minigames included here as well that were omitted from our previous rankings. There are also 2 extra boards here, Mega Board Mayhem and Mini Board Mad Dash. You can play for either 10, 20, or 30 turns, and your goal is to have more coins than your opponents by the end. In this mode, you don't play any minigames and instead just try to walk around the board and collect coins. These are incredibly boring, and I don't understand why anybody would play them over the normal board mode, honestly. Mario Party 4 doesn't offer too much in the extra multiplayer mode department, sadly. There's no oddly in-depth mode like Duel Mode in Mario Party 3, but there is some fun to be had with the additional minigame modes, and I think that Mario Party 4 does offer the best selection of minigames to just jump in and play so far. Now, let's rate Mario Party 4's beginner friendliness. Mario Party 4 does have a lot going for it for new players. It's a lot prettier and smoother than the Nintendo 64 games, and the minigames are genuinely very fun. The biggest detriment to Mario Party 4's beginner friendliness is its board gameplay. It's not that the boards are too complex, they're actually a bit more simplistic than Mario Party 3's boards. It's just that the pacing of the board gameplay is so slow, the prevalence of infinites is incredibly frustrating, and the item system is a whole lot less interesting. I've had a lot of games of Mario Party 4 get abandoned partway through because players got bored or uninterested, and a lot of this just comes down to a lack of meaningful decisions on the boards. Mario Party 4 gets 2.5 stars on my beginner friendliness meter. While it has some great minigames, I don't think that I can recommend the board gameplay over the other games in the series. If you choose to play this game with newcomers, I recommend playing on either Shy Guy's Jungle Jam or Toad's Midway Madness. Shy Guy's Jungle Jam is the best board in the game in my opinion, and Toad's Midway Madness is a really predictable, straightforward board that unfortunately only stumbles due to its infinites. And that's Mario Party 4. Mario Party 4 is a game that really tries to distance itself from the previous entries, bringing Mario Party into a new era with shiny graphics and a phenomenal set of minigames. Unfortunately, Mario Party 4 kind of throws out all of the interesting innovations that Mario Party 3 made to the board gameplay, while also not retaining the consistently interesting board design from Mario Party 2. While I'd argue that the boards from Mario Party 4 are definitely better than the boards from Mario Party 1, they have less of an excuse since this is now the 4th game in the series. I really appreciate that Mario Party 4 went for quality over quantity with the minigames. Team Match was a fantastic addition, custom minigame sets are great, and I have a fondness for the lottery shop, but for every good or even great step forward that Mario Party 4 makes, it takes 2 steps backwards. Mario Party 4 unfortunately sits behind Mario Party 2 in my series ranking. While the minigame score is a remarkable improvement, Mario Party 4 is proof to me that just having a solid set of minigames isn't enough to create a truly great party game experience. There's a lot of fun to be had here, but as a cohesive package, Mario Party 4 is all over the place. On the next episode of Mark's Rec Room, we'll be taking a look at Mario Party 5, the next entry on the GameCube that is known for taking a lot of risks with the formula. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.